3, 2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, the 2nd of June, and a big happy birthday to Dominic Cooper, Tony Hadley, Zachary Quinto, and Liam Cunningham. 7. Coronavirus continues to spread across the globe with over 6 million cases now, and deaths continue to be reported in the UK. However, yesterday schools reopened for some years, but there's been huge concern over the phasing of the lockdown and how quickly things are being unlocked. The government had announced that a joint biosecurity centre was being set up to review when various requirements were met, which would mean lockdown could be safely eased. ITV News last night asked Matt Lavish Holidays Hancock about that biosecurity centre.
I just wondered if you could update us on the joint biosecurity centre.
Yes, we're getting it stood up, making sure that all of the information flows are come to it, so it's able to analyse them and to make sure that it gets set up correctly. That's all that work's being done as we speak. Well, it's being formulated at the moment. It's being pulled together, yeah.
Oh, OK, so we've promised to set up a committee to develop a barn door, but the horses are over there in the field. Right, OK, gotcha. 6. As the protests continued across the United States and an autopsy found that George Floyd was murdered, dying from asphyxia caused by the police officer's knee on his neck, Donald Trump refused to make a statement from the Oval Office or any empathetic gesture to calm things down. Instead, enraged by reports that he had to hide in a bunker, he ranted at America's governors on a conference call.
But New York is going to have to toughen up, and we'll send you National Guard if you want. You have the largest police force in the country, 40,000 people, I understand. But what's going on in New York is terrible. It's terrible.
He then had police clear peaceful protesters from outside the White House with tear gas and rubber bullets so that he could have a photo opportunity outside St John's Church holding a Bible. He then threatened to deploy the US military on the streets of the United States.
Today I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If the city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
It's hard to see any difference between this behaviour and totalitarian governments across the world. Amidst all this chaos and mass arrests of protesters, Terrence Floyd, the brother of George Floyd, spoke out yesterday.
I understand y'all upset. But like it was already said, I doubt y'all half as upset as I am. So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here messing up my community, come on. Then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
4. Back to the UK, and this morning had one of those moments where the story is actually better if you don't know what's going on. Here's Holly and Phil catching up on what happened on their group Zoom call over the weekend.
So I was perched on one of the kids' trip-trap chair type things, and if you've got one of these, the seat slides out of it. So obviously where I'm sitting on it, it's moving, it's edging back, and suddenly it gave up. And it was like somebody had opened a trapdoor from underneath me, and I went back, my legs went up, so my feet were just in Zoom, like this with my riding boots on.
Yeah.
And thank God I had the riding helmet on, because I leant back, Harry plays the drums, hit the drum kit.
But she actually, as she went and disappeared out of shot and her legs shot, she gave herself her own.
They were doing a costume murder mystery call, apparently. 3. Sport. Nothing says summer like the clack of balls, the soft stroke of a... What? Oh, okay. Snooker's back. The sport that never made it to the radio is back on ITV4. Let's dip into the excitement of the Champions League of Snooker from Milton Keynes.
Oh, that changes things. Not just in the frame, in the match, and potentially in the group. Carrington thought he might have just caught this red, but no contact made. The red missed by a coat of paint.
If you finished all of Netflix and you're bored of YouTube, this might brighten up summer lockdown/not lockdown/ the second wave, or whatever you're calling it. Big Brother is coming back to E4. Well, the best bits are, and the Dream Team is back. It's Davina and Rylan. Here's the teaser.
Oh my God, Jackie! Yeah, Jackie.
Who is she?
This is Big Brother. Will all the best episodes assemble on E4?
Join Davina and Rylan for Big Brother Best Shows Ever, coming soon to E4.
Josh Gad's been at it again. Yes, the guy who plays Olaf the Snowman's been reuniting stars from some of the biggest movies of his childhood. And this time he did it for Splash, getting Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah and director Ron Howard on Zoom to talk about the making of the classic 80s movie in which Tom falls for a mermaid.
Before we ever rolled any film, we also had to figure out how are we going to do the underwater work.
Tom and I didn't have masks, so we couldn't really see.
We did tests, and then I just asked Daryl to just get in and try out the tail, and it was stunning.
Back in those days, you had to go down to the bottom of the kelp bed. You had to take off all your equipment and then put it all back on. And that was one of the best great adventures of the whole thing, between going on location and getting paid to learn how to scuba dive.
This has been the Smart 7. Stay safe, stay distant, and please wash those hands. We are on Alexa now. You can enable the Smart 7 and add us as a flash briefing. We're back tomorrow at 7. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Rule of 3. Where people who make funny stuff
talk about something funny that they love.
Because I remember as a kid thinking that's a really good old-fashioned gag, but it's also nasty.
The actual VHS, this is clearly sufficiently important to me that this went to House Moves as well.
There is that joy and that slight fear as well about who's going to say what.
Everything from Airplane to Bottom.
From When Harry Met Sally to The Muppets.
Trying is good, aiming high is good, being ridiculous and not being afraid of failure is good.
I think that joke is so fucking funny.
Again, I just think this is hysterical. It's beautiful stuff.
Rule of 3 from Great Big Owl.